Hey there. So diving into the new world of work, huh? Less hierarchy, more of those collaborative, self-driven teams. Exciting stuff, but it definitely needs a new approach. Today we're doing a deep dive into Keith Ferrazzi's latest book.
Oh yeah, workplace social intelligence.
That's the one.
Yeah,
It's actually originally titled in Chinese, sure.
that's right.
And, Ferrazzi's background is fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, youngest CMO of a Fortune 500 company
Yeah.
wrote Never Eat Alone, which, huge bestseller. And now he's really focused on transforming teamwork through his consulting firm.
Yeah, and this book is all about a concept he calls co-elevation.
Co-elevation, yeah.
It's this idea of ditching the old playbook, instead solving problems through these fluid partnerships, leading without needing that fancy title, and then achieving things that just wouldn't happen within those, traditional organizational structures.
I think one of the things that's really compelling about this book is Ferrazzi uses real stories from his consulting work. So he brings co-elevation to life
Yeah.
with examples of real people
Yeah.
facing real challenges and how they use this approach to get some really extraordinary results.
Okay, let's jump into one of those stories. Chapter 1 introduces us to Sandy, an HR director who's hit a wall trying to launch a company-wide incentive program. The sales department, led by Jane, wants to kind of like go rogue with their own plan.
I think this situation is a great example of a key shift that Ferrazzi emphasizes, which is, really expanding our definition of team. It's not just your direct reports, right?
Right.
It's everybody who's, crucial to your success.
That's such a good point. Think about your own work for a second. Who are those unexpected people on your team? The ones outside your immediate circle whose collaboration is absolutely essential to your success.
It might be somebody from another department, a client, even somebody you currently perceive as an obstacle.
Yeah. Here's where co-elevation comes in. Instead of battling it out with Jane, Ferrazzi suggests Sandy view her as a teammate. Approach her with genuine curiosity, understand Jane's goals, and even seeking ways to help her succeed.
Total mindset shift. Turning adversaries into allies, even when, you're dealing with challenging personalities.
And guess what?
Yeah.
It totally works.
Of course.
Sandy discovers that Jane has these, invaluable insights into what motivates the sales team. These are things she, as an HR person, wouldn't have known.
Right. And by working together, they develop a solution that not only works for both departments, but ultimately strengthens the company's entire incentive program.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation, the essence of co-elevation.
It is. But there's another crucial element here, and that's taking ownership. Ferrazzi is adamant that you don't need permission or a title to lead, right? Just find a problem and own it. That's where Gina's story comes in. She's this ambitious ER doctor with aspirations for a leadership role, but she gets told she needs to wait 5 years.
5 years. Ferrazzi's advice, don't wait. Identify a problem you can solve right now and take charge.
So Gina hones in on this major pain point, right? This colleague named Davin who consistently mismanages medical supplies. This is impacting patient care. But everyone is terrified to confront him because he has this reputation for being, well, difficult.
So this is where things get really interesting. Ferrazzi encourages Gina to transform this sticky situation into a co-elevation opportunity.
So instead of dodging Davin, Gina takes the initiative to get to know him, building a relationship founded on genuine respect. She approaches him as a teammate, emphasizing their shared goal,
Right.
improving patient care in the ER.
And Ferrazzi highlights the importance of seeking Davin's perspective, understanding his challenges, and then celebrating even the small wins together, acknowledging each other's contributions.
And the outcome.
Yeah, what happened?
Not only does the supply management issue improve significantly, but Gina also forms this strong working relationship with Davin who, get this, evolves into a mentor for her, and she lands a leadership position in under 2 years.
It's a powerful example of how taking initiative, leading without relying on authority, and cultivating these authentic connections can just accelerate your success.
Yeah. Ferrazzi acknowledges that it's not always smooth sailing, though. He dedicates a whole section of the book to what he calls the 6 deadly excuses that often prevent people from fully embracing co-elevation.
Yeah, and I mean, we've probably all uttered these excuses at some point, right?
No,
I'm too busy, they won't listen. I mean, it's so easy to let these excuses hold us back. But Ferrazzi challenges us to recognize them for what they truly are, roadblocks to our own potential.
Yeah.
I mean, those 6 deadly excuses, they really hit home, don't they? It's so easy to fall into those patterns.
It is. And of those excuses, the one that probably resonates most strongly with our listeners, especially those in larger, more traditional organizations, is it's not my job.
Oh yeah, classic. And it's so deeply ingrained in those old ways of working. But in this rapidly evolving landscape, clinging to that mentality, well, it can be detrimental.
It really can, and it's true. The lines are blurring in the modern workplace. Problems don't fit neatly into those, old departmental boxes anymore.
Exactly. And if we get stuck in that "it's not my job" mindset, we miss out on some incredible opportunities, right, to
Yeah.
make a real impact, both for our organizations and for our own career trajectories.
That's so true. And Ferrazzi illustrates this perfectly with the story of Sarah. She's this young marketing manager who's feeling incredibly frustrated. Companies lagging behind in digital marketing, but her innovative ideas keep getting shut down by the senior leadership team.
So it sounds like a classic case of being stuck in the old ways of doing things, right? Viewing those fresh perspectives as threats rather than assets.
Exactly. And Sarah could have easily given up, right? Said, well, I tried, but it's not my job to revolutionize the entire company culture.
Yeah.
But she chose a different path. She embraced the co-elevation approach.
Okay, so how does she turn things around?
Well, she started by identifying key individuals on a leadership team who she thought might be receptive to new ideas, not necessarily the most powerful people, but those who she felt were genuinely curious and willing to listen.
Smart move. Target those who are open to, change.
Right, and she didn't try to force her ideas on them.
Right.
Instead, she approached them with humility, eager to learn. She asked some really insightful questions like, what are your biggest challenges regarding digital marketing? What are your goals for the company's future? And what are your biggest concerns?
Okay, so by focusing on their needs and demonstrating a genuine desire to contribute to their success, she cleverly built trust and opened up, a meaningful dialogue.
Yeah, and here's the brilliant part. She then invited them to co-create a solution with her.
Oh, that's fantastic. So she didn't position herself as, the sole expert with all the answers, but she acknowledged that they held valuable insights and experience that she could learn from.
Exactly. And they joined forces, they brainstormed ideas, they experimented with different approaches, and they even ran a few small pilot projects.
And I bet they started seeing, positive results.
They did. They not only significantly improved the company's digital marketing efforts, but Sarah also established these strong relationships with those key decision makers. So she really positioned herself as a leader, even without holding a formal leadership title.
Wow. It's amazing how shifting from, it's not my job to how can we solve this together
Hmm.
can unlock so much potential.
Hmm.
But it's not always easy.
You're right. Co-elevation isn't always, smooth sailing. There will be conflicts and disagreements along the way.
That's where Ferrazzi's concept of constructive dissent comes in. It's about feeling comfortable disagreeing with your co-elevation partners, challenging their ideas, even pushing back when necessary, but in a way that's respectful and ultimately focused on finding the best solution.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, I care enough about, our relationship and our shared goal that I'm willing to have this tough conversation with you.
Exactly. He gives some excellent tips on how to do this effectively. Things like framing your dissent as a question rather than an accusation.
Right, like help me understand why you believe this is the best way forward, or, what potential downsides might we be overlooking?
Exactly. It's about inviting your partners to um, consider different perspectives without putting them on the defensive. Because shutting down dissent, well, that stifles valuable insights and fosters a culture of fear where people, hesitate to speak up or challenge the status quo.
It makes sense. If you're constantly worried about, stepping on toes or saying the wrong thing, you're not going to be fully engaged or contribute your best work.
Right. And that's where Ferrazzi's concept of, psychological safety within co-elevation teams comes in. It's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, even the unconventional ones, without fear of judgment or repercussions.
That's so crucial. And it ties in beautifully with his emphasis on generosity, right? It's not just about taking, but also giving, contributing your time, expertise, and connections to support your co-elevation partner's success.
Yeah, it's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, creating a culture of abundance rather than scarcity. I
Hmm.
mean, that can have, a ripple effect throughout throughout an organization.
Absolutely. So, how do we bring this co-elevation concept to life? It's one thing to read about it, but, putting it into practice can feel kind of daunting.
Yeah, well, Ferrazzi provides a very practical framework
Yeah.
that that anyone can use. He calls it the co-elevation cycle, and it consists of four key stages:
Hmm.
connect, co-create, collaborate, and celebrate.
Okay, so break that down for us. Connect.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's about building those, strong relationships we've been discussing.
Exactly. It's about identifying the individuals who can help you achieve your goals
Yeah.
and making a conscious effort to connect with them, like on a human level, not just talking
Uh-huh.
about work. Getting to know them as individuals.
Sharing vulnerabilities, finding that common ground, building that foundation of trust and mutual respect.
Precisely. And once you've established those connections, you move into the co-create stage. This is where you brainstorm ideas together, explore possibilities, and develop a shared vision for what you want to achieve.
So it's not just about presenting your own ideas, it's about, collaboratively coming up with something genuinely innovative.
Exactly. Yeah. And collaborate, right. That's about putting that vision into action, working together to overcome those challenges, execute the plan, adapt as needed.
And of course, celebrate, which is about recognizing and appreciating each other's contributions, acknowledging those, big and small wins.
Right. It's about reinforcing that sense of shared success and building momentum for those future co-elevation endeavors.
So this co-elevation cycle isn't, it's not a one-time event, right?
Right.
It's an ongoing process. It's a way of approaching all your work relationships.
Yeah, it really represents a mindset shift, a commitment to collaboration, and a belief that, we can achieve far more together than we ever could alone.
And it all begins with taking ownership, recognizing that we don't have to wait for permission to lead. We can all be co-elevators, regardless of our role or our title.
It's an incredibly empowering message, right? I mean, for anyone who's navigating this, constantly changing world of work. But Ferrazzi doesn't stop there. He proposes that co-elevation, it isn't merely, a workplace strategy, but a way of life.
Oh, now that's interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, he argues that these principles, generosity, collaboration, celebrating shared success, these can be applied to, every aspect of our lives.
Wow.
Our relationships, our communities, even our personal growth.
So it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder, but about elevating ourselves and those around us in a more holistic sense.
Absolutely. I mean, he even uses his own marriage as an
Oh,
example, right?
wow.
Explaining how he and his wife, view their relationship as a co-elevation partnership. They support each other's goals, they celebrate each other's achievements, and they challenge each other to grow.
I love that. It's about extending that team mindset beyond the workplace and integrating it into our, personal lives.
It makes perfect sense. We are all interconnected. Our success, both, personally and professionally, it's intertwined with the success of those around us.
This whole idea of co-elevation has me rethinking how I approach relationships, not just at work, but in all areas of my life.
Me too. I mean, it really challenges our traditional individualistic mindset, right?
Yeah.
It encourages us to recognize that, we're all in this together and that we can achieve so much more when we support and uplift one another.
So where do we begin? If our listeners are ready to embrace this co-elevation mindset, what's a concrete step they can take today?
Well, Ferrazzi, he highlights the significance of gratitude. He considers it, the bedrock of any successful co-elevation relationship.
So expressing appreciation for the people who support us, contribute to our success.
It's more than just saying thank you. It's about taking the time to genuinely acknowledge, their efforts, their insights, their unique contributions, and it's about, doing it publicly.
Not just a quick email, but maybe acknowledging them in a meeting or, even writing a heartfelt note.
Exactly. And it's remarkable how such a simple act can have such a ripple effect. When people feel appreciated, they're more likely to be engaged, collaborative, and willing to, go the extra mile.
It creates a fantastic cycle of co-elevation.
It does. It's like the saying, what you appreciate appreciates. When we focus on elevating others, we ultimately elevate ourselves as well.
This has been such an eye-opening exploration of co-elevation.
It really has.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Keith Ferrazzi's workplace social intelligence, Let's bring it back to our listener.
Yeah, let's make this practical.
Okay, so thinking about everything we've discussed, is there a challenge that you face where the co-elevation approach could have made a difference?
Hmm. There's one situation that comes to mind. A while back, I was working on a project that was, uh, you know, really struggling to get off the ground. And I was trying to, like, go it alone, convinced I had all the answers. And as a result, I was hitting, roadblocks left and right.
It's so easy to fall into that trap thinking we have to, do it all ourselves.
It is. And it wasn't until I started, reaching out to colleagues, really, truly collaborating and valuing their input, that the project started gaining some real momentum.
Mhm.
And I realized that, their perspectives and expertise were, like, essential for success.
It's a powerful reminder that even when we feel stuck, there are these potential co-elevators,
Yeah.
all around us just waiting to be engaged.
And remember, you don't need a formal title or position to initiate this.
Right.
Everyone has the potential to be a co-elevator.
I love that. So to wrap things up, here's a challenge for our listeners. Think of one person at work, at home, or in your community who deserves a heartfelt thank you.
Oh, I like that.
What specific action can you take this week to show your appreciation? Acknowledge their contribution.
It might seem like a small gesture, but it could be the spark that ignites a powerful co-elevation journey.
And remember, you have the power to be that spark. You can be the catalyst for positive change in your own life and the lives of those around you.
That's right. Embrace the principles of co-elevation,
Yeah.
generosity, collaboration, and shared success. And watch as you and those around you rise together.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.